Friends, today's NRI Samay program from Los Angeles brought to you commercial free by listeners like you. Your generous donations make possible for us to stay commercial free, and today's show is pre-recorded. If you have a question for the guest, please send an email to nrisamay@gmail.com. We will follow up with the guest and find the answer for you. Thank you for your support.
Friends, welcome back to NRI Samay. This is Sri Hari, your host for today's show. Today we have with us Dawn Reese. She is the Executive Director and the co-CEO of an initiative called the Wooden Floor. We would like to learn more about this initiative from her directly. Dawn, welcome to NRI Samay.
Thank you, Sri. I'm glad to be with you.
Excellent. To begin with, could you tell us a little bit about the Wooden Floor, how it started, and what's the mission?
Sure. The Wooden Floor is an Arts for Youth organization that helps low-income students here in Santa Ana, California, which is in Orange County, California, to reach their full potential in school and in life. And we do that through access through the arts that we combine with academic tutoring, college preparatory services, as well as family support systems here at the Wooden Floor.
I see.
And it started very humbly in 1983 by a sister who was in the Order of St. Joseph of Orange, which is I guess it's a Catholic affiliation with St. Joseph Hospital and Church. And so she started this in 1983 in order to help students, have positive behavior, stay off the streets, away from drugs and alcohol and teenage pregnancy. And the goals then were, very humble, is how do we use dance to really inspire and create hope and joy in their life. And what happened over time was the students, they were younger then. They didn't want to leave the Wooden, at the time it was called St. Joseph Ballet. Didn't want to leave St. Joseph Ballet at the time, and so started asking if we could provide other services. They needed academic support. They needed tutoring. And so what happened was the organization grew from about 80 students in 1983 to today we serve 375 students here at our year-round campus, and we offer dance education training, performance opportunities, and academic tutoring, college prep, and then family services. And our students now are with us from third grade all the way through high school. And we also serve another 3,000 students through a program that we have in the schools here in California called Dance Free Weeks, where we bring in a dance curriculum into the schools. And for only 1 week, we see the students really change internally about the way that they think about themselves. And so it happens in a 1-week period inside the school. It's very typical that we have some students that may not be very hopeful. They may not be even smiling in the class, because they have a lot going on in their life. They're considered very poor for California standards. And so, but in 1 week, their lives really change with the Wooden Floor. And so because of those two programs, our year-round program and then our school program, we've served over 80,000 young people since 1983.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And the year-round program, so students go to their school during the normal regular hours, and then they go to the Wooden Floor in the evening. Is that how it works? And is it like a daily program?
Yes. Okay. So I'll step back real quick. So because of the Dance Free Weeks programs, what we do is we audition once a year each October. So we have over 400 students line up for only 75 spots. And so when the students are young, they come here after school. They've had their regular full school day. When they're young in 3rd and 4th grade, they may take 2 classes per week. And when they're older, they could take 4 to 5 classes a week, plus performance opportunities. Because as they're with us from 3rd grade through high school, the program just builds upon each other, and they just start building their dance skills.
I see. And you also mentioned about academic support, tutoring. So they go to the Wooden Floor, and there is some kind of a tutoring and then there is a dance, or is it based on need basis?
It's based on need basis. So once they're in, unless there's behavior issues or they're not. We have really high standards for the students, so we expect 80% attendance requirement for the students, so attendance, behavior, and just overall participation. And so as long as they're operating, that they want to be here and everything's going well for the student, they never have to re-audition. So we have students who have grades under 1.0, and we have students who have grades at 4.6 because of AP coursework here in California. And but our all-campus GPA right now is 3.0. And so any student that needs tutoring, mandatory tutoring is for anyone who's under 2.0. We get their report cards every semester. So we look at that, and then we create a special tutoring plan for each one of those students. So even though we have 375, we approach our work very individualized, and we develop we have cases of support for each student. So what the beauty of the model is that it's very integrated. So what we do is on the day they have their dance class, they'll also have their tutoring. And if they need to see our therapist or one of our counselors, then they'll have all of those services on one day so the parents don't have to come back and forth and just create extra kind of chaos in their lives.
I see. And when people who are outside of U.S., when they look at America, they think it's a rich country. It is a rich country. But when you talk about low-income group, can you tell us what is their families like, or what's their lifestyle, or if they don't go to wooden floor, how would their life be different? Yeah.
Yeah. So, the interesting part of the wooden floor is that, they face all the similar challenges, but that their counterparts do, but because the wooden floor is in their life, we provide a respite and an oasis for them, right? So we help them, even though, and we see sometimes that because of all the services we provide to the student, the family starts to become more stabilized and grow. But let me give you kind of an idea of Orange County in California. I don't know if people know of Orange County, but it's perceived as a very rich county, very wealthy county. And in reality, there's a lot of poverty in our county. So a typical family of the wooden floor is a family of 5 is called extremely low or low income at about $32,000 a year for us, which I know in other countries that is still a lot of money, but compared to, the 6-figure income and higher that many other families make in the county, it's really difficult. So what happens is they're living sometimes 2 and 3 families per house, like in some other parts of the world. They will share, they'll even sleep in bathtubs here in Orange County because that's the only space they have to rent from people. They generally, the parents typically don't have education, sometimes beyond a 6th or 7th grade education. So when they come to the wooden floor, we tell the students on day 1, this is what, education is going to help you break the cycle of poverty. And so this is how we're going to help you get there. And we use dance in order to build their spirits, and then by them building their spirits and their hopefulness and their sense of accomplishment within themselves, then what we do is we help them then use those, things that have really now permeated their soul in order to really move their lives forward. And so because their parents don't have sometimes beyond a middle school education for the most part, we do a lot of work in why is education important, what are we going to do to help your student get there. College is affordable. So we start the college process, literally day 1 with our students in 3rd grade.
I see. I mean, I've been in Orange County for 10 years now, 11 years, but just listening to this is still shocking to me. Someone sleeping in a bathtub, it's just hard for me to even just listen to it.
In California, in America, yeah. And so, and in a county that, like I said, people perceive as having higher wealth, And that's what the county's really dealing with. That's what we're dealing with right now, is that we're trying to shine some lights on what I call poverty pockets within the county, is that a lot of people feel that the county is doing really great, and it is. Orange County, compared to the whole United States, is one of the top counties related to employment and economic growth and all the other success factors. But at the same side, it also has this really growing population of poverty. And so a lot of the community leaders and foundations and like ourselves are trying to be at the table of talking about it could become almost like a tale of two cities, right? Where, you have all of this happening, and but then all of a sudden, you can't forget about, because we're all in one big community here. So if there is struggle of poverty, it's only going to make the county, eventually have more struggles.
Yeah, and this is such a great story. Have you gotten any feedback either by directly watching these students grow, or did anybody come back and say, these things changed in my life, like any success stories?
Yes, we're very fortunate, is because we have our college program that we provide students who graduate with us, who stay the whole 10 years with us, up to $10,000 over their college career. We provide for them. So we also talk to the alumni all the time, and so we're excited that in 2009 we had a strategic planning process that really helped us figure out what we do well, focus on that, let's make it happen. And so what we're starting to see now is that the students who were with us then, who entered college, are doing really well to get in and out of college in a 4 to 5 year period. It's typical for students in America that are they call faces of color here, which is generally, Hispanic or Asian community. It could take, when you're low income, up to 7 or 8 years to graduate college because of all the financial issues you have. And with getting in and out of college, it's all about persistence, right? And so we feel that if we can help our students get in and out of college, not only do they better themselves educationally, but they also better themselves financially. So we have students coming back today that have graduated with us, getting their first jobs, wholeheartedly put the fact that the wooden floor was a part of their life and still is a part of their life as the central reasons why they have succeeded. I have a student in my head that she's graduating this May, and it's really exciting because she's one of the first students that I started watching when I've been here now 6 years. So she was one of the first students that I got to know, and her dad is a single dad. So he raises his daughter and his son on his own, and he brought her to the wooden floor. The mom is not as involved in the family as typically happens in our families, and so Maria Elena is actually a student at UCLA, and she is getting in and out of college in 4 years. She is first in her family to go to college. She is double majoring in math and biology, and her end goal now is to go to medical school and become a doctor.
Wow.
And she wants to return back to Orange County and work here in Orange County as a doctor. And what's really powerful about that is that her life has also shaped her brother's life, because he saw her make it to college. And she's a very supportive father. He's been one of our strongest volunteers when they were here. Her brother didn't dance with us, but he was always around all the positive aspects of the wooden floor. And he himself is now in college. He's a second-year mechanical engineer here in California, and he's set to graduate in 4 years. The dad did not go to college, so that's how. Our end goal of what we do is to break the cycle of poverty through generational change, is that the students will, the youth will do better than, their parents, which I think is the ultimate outcome for most parents. I'm a parent. I want my son to do better than I'm doing, right? So, and we know that education will break the cycle of poverty. It's statistically what it is,
Excellent. That's such a great story. very inspirational.
Friends, NRI Samay is a non-profit independent alternate media from Los Angeles, USA, which brings positive stories from grassroots activists from all corners of India and across the world. NRI Samay does not rely on corporate funding and our shows are commercial free. We only rely on your donations. Corporate funded media is driven by the TRP rating and profits are blurring the distinction between news and entertainment. Why do our news channels talk so much about cricket, movies, accidents, popular figures' personal lives, babies of heroines, gossips, etc., while they should be covering the struggles of people, inequality in our society, rural issues, and border security issues? Why did our media raise some corruption crusaders to the sky on one day and shut them off completely when graft charges were raised on those corporate sponsors? Media relies so much on the corporate funding and government blessings that they cannot report independently. NRI Samay is different. We don't accept funds from any corporations and hence our shows are commercial free. We completely rely on donations from you. Please consider donating to NRI Samay and please go to nrisamay.com and donate generously. This is the only way together that we can continue NRI Samay. All donations are kept transparent on nrisamay.com. And if you have any questions, please write to nrisamay@gmail.com.
I mean, this kind of initiative is so much needed for a community where there's poor people, but there are these communities across US and also in other countries, right? So is there anybody else? I'm sure there are different types of such initiatives existing, but anybody came to you and said, you know what, can you help set up this kind of a wooden floor in my community?
Well, yes. We are actually working on some of that right now. So as we know today, unless there's someone out there that hears me talking, we don't know of another organization that's using our model with Dance as a Center of Student Transformation with the wraparounds of academic, college prep, and family services in the way that we do our work. There are organizations that focus on dance for youth, and so they'll have a youth component, but they don't have those other kind of social service and academic components together. And so recently we've been approached by several organizations in the country who have focused on dance with the youth. And what they're finding is that just like we say dance is so transformative, is that at the end of the program cycle, maybe it's 5th grade or 6th grade, when the program ends, they don't want to leave the program. They want to stay with the organization, and the organization isn't equipped to do that because they also have other needs. They have the tutoring needs, they have the college prep, navigating the college process prep, and then that social services safety net system, in place. So we've had a couple organizations recently come to us and we're in serious discussions right now with them. One's on the East Coast that I'm hoping that we'll be able to announce shortly will be what we're calling a licensed partner, which means that we're going to license the Wooden Floors model to them, but they're going to be operating under their own separate organization. So they'll have a different name, they'll have their own governance and financial responsibilities, but they'll be licensing our model. And so it's been something we've been working on as a goal of our board and the staff, and is to what we call build the wooden floor in a box. And so we're actually right now in the process of, we've grown over the 32 years, and we've built all these systems in place, but we've never really had to sit down and tell people how we do what we do. And so we're actually building something called a wooden floor in a box, so that someone who is a licensed partner with us can actually implement it into a new community. And the best part of that is that they can get up to speed really fast in that community versus having the 32 years it's taken us to to build the model. And so we're getting then the goal is once that one's up and running, and we feel really good about how we're handling it, our goal is we probably start to go out and start to maybe look for people to partner with. But right now it's really about that.
Excellent. And is this, I'm sure, it takes a lot of money, but is it supported by the state, or are there sponsors, or are there individual donors? How does it work? And if somebody is listening to this conversation on an individual basis, if they want to, somehow support, is there anything they can do?
So thank you. So we're privately funded. So our annual budget today is about a little over $2.4 million. We raise all that money privately. So, and we also have an endowment fund that we also supports our operating budget. So we raise about $2.2 million now privately a year to operate. And through that, it's a combination of wonderful individual donors, corporations and foundations that really believe in what we're accomplishing here at the Wooden Floor and why our work is so important. And so I have to put a big congratulations to our board of directors. Our board of directors is really one of the top ones in Orange County and really believe that what we're doing here is making a really big difference. And so we use them as our ambassadors as well into the business community and other individual donor community in order to support our work. And I actually have a really great story from, I don't know if Kyle told you, but we have a supporter that's from India and her husband. And I met Anjay when I was at another organization, a technology organization, and he has started a technology company. So I ran into him about 2 years ago, brought him over for a tour, and he brought his wife, Sharon. They came in, fell in love with what we're doing. And so Sharon last year started, she calls Cakes for Charity, and so she makes an Indian cake that's fabulous, and she brought a couple in for us to try. And when people in her life want her to make a cake for them for an event that they're having or something, instead of, they wanted to pay her, and she said, no, I want the money to go to the Wooden Floor. Wow. So, through her own network, she's raised, a good amount of money for the Wooden Floor just through her Cakes for Charity activity. And so now we have a growing community of Indian people from Orange County who are involved with our organization because of one special lady and a couple who fell in love with what we're doing here.
Actually, such a small world. I follow them on Facebook, the Cakes for Charity, and I know some people who work there. So, yeah, but I didn't know they're part of this effort. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Sharon and Anjay Bajaj.
Yeah.
And Anjay runs a technology company, and he has employees in India as well.
Excellent. And if anybody would like to contact you, the information is on the website, right?
Yeah, I can give it to you too. It's www.thewoodenfloor.org, and the email is info@thewoodenfloor.org, and they can also call 714-541-8314, and someone would be happy to talk to them, and they can also ask for me or Payal.
Excellent. That's a wonderful story and a lot of information. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that I did not ask, or anything else you want to cover?
Well, I think just the last, I think it ties into this conversation with having this wonderful opportunity to talk to the people that listen to you and here in the States as well as India, is that, we see our work today as having a global impact, is that our students really are becoming change agents in their own lives, but we see through their connections to their world, they're making a difference in their families' lives, their own community, nationwide, and then recently globally. We have a student that has several students that have told us that their end goals of their life, they've been raised here in Orange County, but their end goals for their life is eventually to do, global aid work, working in healthcare as a nurse, in a global aid initiative, or they're looking to, one woman wants to, she's in college right now, she wants to work in housing for underserved communities in Latin America. So at our work today, even though it's Orange County and it's Santa Ana, we feel that we're having a global footprint in the future for what we're going to be able to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, it's one big global world,
Yeah.
and we're all in it together.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Don, thank you very much for this information, and we wish a great success for the wooden floor. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Friends, NRI Samay is a non-profit independent alternate media from Los Angeles, USA, which brings positive stories from grassroots activists from all corners of India and across the world. If you have any interesting episode you would like NRI Samay to cover, we will be happy to do so. NRI Samay would also like to encourage amateur journalists who have a flair for highlighting current events. You can be part of our citizen journalist team. You could cover an important event, interview victims of an atrocity, or document an inspirational story. The idea is to have a mix of experience throughout all parts of the world, preferably supported by an audio or a video clip of your story to be aired, which will be the curtain raiser. You can also submit your opinion articles on important topics to NRI Samay. We will be happy to put it on nrisamay.com in the opinion section. All your work will be credited only to you. And if you're interested, please send an email to nrisamay@gmail.com.
Friends, this is Srihari again. We were listening to Don Reese. Now we are going to talk with one of the students at the wooden floor, and we would like to understand her experience so we can connect to what Don was explaining earlier. Maria, welcome to NRI Samay.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking this time. Maybe to begin with, could you tell how you were introduced to wooden floor?
Yeah, sure. My two older cousins went there before it was the wooden floor, when it was St. Joseph Ballet, located in the basement of a church. That's when they started. And when I was little, I looked up to them a lot, and I would always see them, taking ballet classes, and I wanted to be just like them. So when I turned 9, that's when I was able to audition. So they trained me, you can say, over summer, and then I went and auditioned, and that's basically how I was introduced.
I see. Excellent. And what was the acceptance criteria like? What were they looking for?
I'm not quite sure back then what they were looking for. I just know I had to take my grades, my test score, state test scores, and that's basically it. Other than that, just yourself. And they're looking for people. What I believe is that they're looking for kids who are wanting to just be themselves and excel with some support. They ask for grades to see if you're interested in tutoring, if they can help you in that way, and then they just want to see kids being kids, I think, because the way you audition, they ask you simple things like to just be yourself, and I guess they're looking for people who are not afraid to be themselves regardless of who's around them.
I see. And so you were always wanting to go to the wooden floor because you had older cousins who were doing the similar thing, and you were
Correct.
interested in the ballet, you said?
Yes, I was.
I see. And in comparison with, before going to the wooden floor versus after going, what were the changes you noticed, and what was different about the schedule, and what else, how was the classes and so forth?
It was definitely much more than I expected. I would just see that from the outside, my cousins going in and taking ballet and then going home. But once I actually was accepted and I joined, there was so much more with tutoring and workshops, and not only ballet classes, but modern classes, occasional jazz classes. It ended up being a home away from home, and I met a lot of people that became lifelong friends to this day, and also that helped me in decision making, and when I had problems I couldn't quite figure out by myself, they were always there to support me. So it was definitely something bigger than I was seeing from the outside.
I see. Maybe can you give an example of one of the issues you are facing and how they helped, or how was it part of the mentoring that you said?
They did have workshops where, like, career day, and they would have like reading workshops and all those sorts of things. A situation that really I found very difficult was applying to college, because no one in my family has ever applied before me. So it was very difficult, and I wasn't sure what exactly to do. And that's one of their main goals, getting kids that live in like lower income communities to realize that they too have a chance to go to college and make something of themselves. So I probably talked to 4 different staff members about my college crisis, you can say, and each one of them, along with their own advice, would tell me to just do what I felt was right, apply where I felt I would fit in, and also to just shoot for the stars, and whatever school is going to help me do that would be a school for me. Also, not to be afraid, because a lot of the staff there has already gone through the college experience. So they were able to tell me, yes, it's scary at first. Yes, it may be difficult, but I mean, in the end, it'll all be worth it. So that was that definitely had a big impact on me, because I didn't have anyone else to go to in my direct family, because nobody understood what I was actually going through.
I see. And it sounds like you wouldn't have gone to college if it was not for your experience at the wooden floor.
Correct. That I really believe that is a true statement. A lot of people, I feel, don't believe it, but it's not until you're actually there and you see how caring the staff is, what other students are, and even the volunteers, that you realize that their support really does mean a lot to the kids, and it did for myself. I really took it to heart, knowing that everybody there had my back and was willing to help me in any way that they could.
I see. And based on what you actually, Payal told me that you are an exceptional student. But based on your experience, what you saw there, have you noticed that students were getting better, or in general, on an average, or is it more? Are you really, one-off?
I do believe that you really do get help and you improve there. I was never assigned a tutor or anything, for the same reasons that I would reach out when I needed help, and if I didn't, I wouldn't obviously ask. But a lot of my friends that I met there were not the best in school and had no plans on going to college, and were just trying to finish high school like the rest of their family had. But they were in tutoring, and the tutors that are there really do care about helping you, and they have a passion for teaching as well, which helps. And also the same girls that I was growing up with and that had no interest whatsoever in school are now in college, and some of them go to Long Beach, some go to Cal State Fullerton. So I do believe that they really make a difference and help improve, because now they're almost graduating from a university, and
wow, that's
if they
incredible.
would have seen themselves 4 years ago, they probably wouldn't have believed that they would be graduating soon.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so what program are you in right now? What's your major? What are your future plans?
So I'm currently a 4th year at UCLA. My major is in anthropology, and I'm going to graduate with a Bachelor of Science. My future goals are to attend medical school and hopefully one day become a cosmetic and reconstructive surgeon.
I see. Wow, that's excellent. Actually, going to UCLA is
Yeah.
yeah. So after seeing you, just the way that you were inspired by your cousins. Anybody else going to the wooden floor, or maybe you are able to help them now?
I always go, since I graduated, I've been returning every year for their annual concert, and I talk to the kids that are there. I've seen a lot of people grow up. I only graduated 4 years ago, but in those 4 years, I've seen all the kids mature and go from little 9-year-olds to 15-year-olds thinking about college, and it's something that makes me truly happy. I enjoy going back and helping in whatever way I can. They always email me and other alumni for volunteer opportunities, and whenever I am in the area, I am definitely there helping in any way I can.
I see. That is an excellent story. And for folks who are listening, do you have any message or anything you would like to convey? Just about how the wooden floor is. And
I'm sorry?
About the wooden floor, anything else you would like to convey to the listeners?
Oh, I would just, not just the wooden floor in general, but programs like the wooden floor that reach out to children and not so a direct, like they're not so direct in pushing you to go to college. Like that is an outcome that happens, but they try to like channel you through dance, which is something that I had never really thought about. I never thought I would be taking dance classes, but it's a very different way. And through dance, you're able to be yourself. And I feel that programs that do that and channel a greater passion, it helps kids realize that they can do anything, and college is a big thing, especially in low-income communities. I feel that having something fun along with something in the long run is definitely a good way to show kids that there's much more out there than what they see in their everyday life.
I see. And do you feel like this is breaking the cycle of poverty and and getting higher education is part of it?
Definitely. I've seen other girls and boys that graduated with me and seen their younger siblings now applying for college and getting ready for college, along with my little brother, who is now at Cal Poly Pomona. It's definitely breaking the trend, I believe, because just by word of mouth, everybody wants to go there. I remember when I auditioned, there was not that many people there, and now when you go back on audition day, the line is enormous, and everybody's trying to just better themselves and their children by joining a program like that.
Excellent. And about the lower income communities, these kind of programs, you said they help a lot, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay, that's great. I really appreciate you taking this time and explaining your experience and hopefully motivating others to also take up these kind of initiatives.
Okay, of course, it was my pleasure.
All right, thank you.
Friends, if you liked today's show, please go to youtube.com/NRI Samay and click on the subscribe button. You will get notified every time we publish a new show. And you can also like us on our social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, and Google+.